a cool thing that we should figure out is between the three of us how much combined CrossFit and coaching experience we have. So when did you start doing CrossFit?
My first CrossFit workout was 2007.
And when did you start coaching?
2013.
E2?
I started CrossFit 2014, and I started coaching in 2015.
So where are we at years-wise, coach-wise? I've been keeping track.
Tyler?
That would be 8 years plus 9 years, so 17.
17, and then I started coaching in 11, so 12, so 29.
Wow.
29, we're almost
That's
30.
cool.
So we combined have a coaching experience that's 7 years older than Peyton.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's wild. Or 6 years older. 22 or 23. So 6 years older than Peyton.
Wow, that's wild. Damn.
So talking about like just like CrossFit and how it's changed, and I think like we're a cool place to start would be like with these camps, right? And like we're trying to build something at CrossFit Boynton Beach and at Black Sheep, and we're trying to do something with that. And like over the last couple of years, like what's the first training camp, or like I don't want to say program because there's been programs forever, but what's the first camp that we can think of that existed in CrossFit?
OPEX.
Yeah, the first thing goes to OPEX.
Yeah.
And then OPEX, Invictus, CompTrain were like the first three that I, off the top of my head.
Yeah. You too?
Yeah.
So my mind goes to Outlaw.
Ooh.
Outlaw Barbell.
So
Just
but
like yeah, like at
camp,
the
though?
Outlaw. Well, like I mean, I guess we have to define camp.
Yeah.
Because because I think Rudy was coaching Telena Fortunato, coaching Elizabeth Akinwale, and he was coaching. So I guess when we say camp, we're referring to like a physical, like the athletes
Yeah,
go there.
that's why I was saying that.
Okay.
And which, to be fair, they all started from a gym, right? And then
Yeah.
blew up into that.
Yeah.
And it was not like, oh, we're making this camp. It's just kind of how it formulated, right?
Yeah.
Like the best people went to the cooler gyms, and then it started to evolve into like everyone moved to this gym to go here, and it was like move to this gym. It was
And
never
then it's just like a snowball effect.
yeah, it's now become camps.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I didn't even think about this, but we've talked in the past about like where we've been. So, do you want to go through a quick recap of like your coaching history? I know you've been like around the ways quite a bit, but
Yeah, I mean, I started coaching in West Palm at a gym, CrossFit City Place. Was there for a few years, and then started doing like individual design, like day 4 of coaching, and then
for yourself or
no, day 1 for myself, but for others. Like I started OPEX right when I started coaching, and
So when you started CrossFit, you never actually was like you were never like a CrossFitter in the sense of like doing hour classes.
Before coming to this gym, I could count on 2 hands how many classes I've done.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so I did that, and then just kind of bounced around. Like I left that gym after a few years, and then went to a gym in like Jupiter, Florida, for again about a few years, and then I was gonna be moving to Georgia, and then worked a little bit closer at like 561 for a few months, and then moved. And when I moved, all I wanted to do was remote coaching. Like that was very appealing to me, so I went from that and had like a quick job just to like move and like have get introduced to a gym in Atlanta or the Roswell area, and then started remote training with Conquer Athlete, and it was like they've been around for since you've been coaching, and they were a gym first and still are, but now are a training platform and a camp.
Do they still have an actual brick and mortar?
In Connecticut, CrossFit Milford. And did they win the games or whatever? I
think one of the teams got popped a year or two ago.
Did they?
I think so.
Well, so did all that, and
But
then
whatever,
the move fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then coached there for almost 4 years or 3 years, and then recently I moved over to functional bodybuilding. I was done with CrossFit for a little bit, and functional bodybuilding very appealing to me, and just have been with them ever since, and that's where I'm at.
And you just recently, as an athlete, just kind of got back into CrossFit.
Yeah. So I was in Atlanta for almost 5 years, and then moved back to Florida day 3 of living here, I came to the Open and I was like, man, this is sick. And just forgot. Like, I haven't been to a Friday Night Lights in probably 7 years. And then, and even that, I was kind of like, I just wanted to, I mean, I lived in West Palm, drove to Tequesta twice a day, and it's just a far drive. So spending any time there outside of when I was training was just hard for me to do. And so I did like 1 Friday Night Lights there, and I was like, that was really cool, but I just wanted to go home because it's far, right? And after doing thrusters and burpees, you don't want to get in the car and drive.
Yeah.
So when I came here, I was like just hanging with Tyler, and I was like, man, this is a vibe.
Yeah.
And then I let it ride like a week, and I was like, I guess I'll do this again.
Yeah.
And like, not I guess I'll do it. I was like, I guess I have to do it.
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
And I got bit hard.
So like, obviously there's a lot of different routes to like go through. Like somebody who's like, the goal is like, talking about Peyton, right? The goal is for somebody that's coming in their early 20s or even in their teens nowadays to like have a 10 to 15, I don't know, 10 to 20 year career, and like, maybe potentially reach the pinnacle of a sport. That'd be tight. But if not, at least be able to like play and dabble and compete at a high level for as long as possible, because that's a fun life to live. Yeah. Obviously there's a lot of different routes to go through your CrossFit career. If you guys could go back in time and like go through how you learned how to do CrossFit and how you got your first coach, like, would you have changed anything? So I guess what I'm like, for me personally, I started off taking classes. So like I started off taking classes. I was doing hour-long classes, and then after a couple months, I was like, okay, I need to do more. And then I was just like doing more like pain shit. And then I was like, okay, well, I need to get more skillful. So then I was doing more skill stuff. And then I started following Outlaw. And then it was like, that was the evolution for me. It was like doing class, then thinking I know everything. It's almost like was it John Eldridge's like Becoming of a Man, where like you have to like create your own issues, and you're like, I know nothing, I know a lot, I can do everything, and then you actually come to full realization of like, I know nothing, and I need to get some help.
There's this scale, I can't remember what it's called, I'm gonna have to find it, but it's when you begin learning something, you don't know anything, and then, so like a freshman in high school doesn't know anything, and then a sophomore in high school thinks he knows everything, and then by the time you're a senior, you realize that you know nothing. Yeah. So you go up and down.
Yeah,
it's kind of similar.
Yeah, like the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know anything. Yeah. So like I don't think I hired my first actual coach, until, I don't know, 2016. So I was like freeballing for 4 years. You said that you got a coach on day one.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, so in 2007, I was like training for like sport for college, and I would come home, and so like in 2004, when I was a freshman, sophomore, and then junior, I had 2 coaches, and then I moved to another one, and this one coach was at like a college, a local college, helping me, but then I was like, it's 30-minute drive, I don't want to do this, and like I can now drive. So I was like, I need more efficiency so I can like hang with my friends. So I was like, I gotta go close. And there was like a Gold's Gym, and this one kid who still does CrossFit was just there, and he told the trainer that was training me about CrossFit, and so he was like basically showing me the CrossFit.com workouts to do, and he was like, do this 21:59.
So you're doing .com for a little bit.
But like he was a coach giving me one workout to do, and I was like, is that all we're doing today?
Yeah.
And then I kind of fizzled out and did life, and then came back to it. But when I got back into CrossFit, I was training for Team USA, or for tryouts for Team USA, and
I was going to text you
for lacrosse. And when I was doing that, a guy in the gym was like, yo, we went to the Crush Games, like that when Frazier came here and did the Crush Games. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And they were like, he was like, I'll challenge you to competition. And so after that, or like leading up, I hired like the owner of the gym to train me. And I was not doing CrossFit though. I was just doing like
strength and conditioning
with a little interval stuff in there, maybe, but then.
Which was like probably your first exposure to like ID.
For sure. And so after, like, I got smashed. I got demolished on every event that we did. And, I was like, I'll never lose again, and I hired a coach the next day. So like that was it.
Yeah,
it was done.
Isn't it crazy? Did you ever follow like .com, like main site?
No.
Remember when that was a thing though? Like when people would like follow main site?
Yeah, it was like, And it was so bad.
Yeah.
Like the website was so bad.
Yeah.
It like to get to it, you're like, is this all that it is? Like there's no links, there was no like, you just like open it and it was like 0016.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like,
It's like I don't even know how to read the date.
yeah, I'm
like
like, wait,
that.
is this the workout? Is this a reps? I don't understand.
Yeah, yeah.
And then and also like when you look at CrossFit, when someone new comes in the gym, they're like, what is on the board? So can you imagine looking at that, being
Yeah.
like, I have bench press, I've squatted and done a push press. What is a ring dip? What is a
Sumo deadlift high pull.
sumo
Yeah,
deadlift high pull?
yeah.
2159. What is this makeup? It makes, and what do you mean for time? What does
Yeah.
any of that mean?
What does
it
AMRAP
was
mean?
like completely foreign. It was crazy.
And what about you? Do you like the way you introed yourself to CrossFit, or if you could go back, would you change anything?
I would 100% change it. So I started off kind of similar. I did a competition. I never really did the class workout. I was at Cast Iron with Matt Franco, and I just started working out with him. Like I'd show up early and do whatever he did, and he'd come up with some crazy stuff.
So you were like getting guidance, which is nice.
Yeah, but then I switched over when I met Dom, and I came over to City Place, and then I got I had somebody coach me for a little bit. It was a little crazy. Didn't work out, and then I think I got with OPEX pretty soon after that.
Yeah.
And I don't technically regret it, but I kind of do. The whole individual thing at a gym that's in another state,
Yeah,
and I don't
yeah.
have anyone to train with.
It's definitely a weird vibe.
Yeah, it works great for some people.
Yeah.
For me personally, like what we have now, where it's somewhat individual, somewhat personal, but
Yeah.
I'm still throwing down with like you guys.
Yeah.
Like I'm still getting nasty with people,
Yeah.
and it's not just I'm in the corner alone setting up 20 different pieces of equipment in everybody's way. It's just not what I think CrossFit is and what it's supposed to be. If I could have had that sooner, I think I would have been better.
Like the combo of the two.
Yeah, I think they're both important. You can't just go in and do a CrossFit workout and expect to reach your peak fitness.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
You can't just do
capabilities.
CrossFit and get better at back squatting.
No.
Like there needs to be
Yeah.
some type of progression.
Well,
that
you
exists.
might get better, but you're not going to reach your
potential.
Yeah.
your
Right.
100%
Like
potential.
there needs to be progressions that exist.
For
Yeah.
sure. And I was gonna say, I don't think I answered that question. I don't think I regret mine. I think I had to go through the stages I went through. Like right now, I don't think I would have wanted to do this. I know I didn't like what I'm doing now. I didn't want to do that back then, but I didn't even really know that was a thing. Like you either did individual design or you did class.
Yeah.
That was it. Like
Yeah.
not really, but that's what where my head was. So I was like, well, the best of the best do this, even though they didn't like
Yeah,
filming,
yeah,
but
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Everybody else,
Yeah.
and so I have to do this to do that. So I don't regret it, but looking back now, like I think it helped shape me for this style now. I don't think
Like
it,
this stage of your life.
yeah, like this stage this makes it, my life better.
Yeah, and,
And,
isn't
yeah.
it crazy? Like talking about that, like what we're describing. You know, it took the CrossFit scene and like CrossFitters and business owners and coaches like 15 years to go through a life cycle of like, okay, we're gonna do group, now we're gonna do semi-private, now we're gonna do ID, now everything's kind of come full circle. Like, god damn it, why couldn't we have just figured that out 8 years ago?
Yeah.
And like you could have been the organization or the plan or the coach that said, this is the blend, let me save everybody 8 years of bullshit and drama.
Yeah.
And like we could have just figured it out.
But
and
you
we
know
could
how
have
that
been
would
there.
happen? Everyone laugh at it.
For sure.
Just like
it would
you do with
have
this
been
now.
like too early for its time kind of thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
In
Just-
OPEX
like
in the
OPEX.
class, they said specifically you need to have a gym for ID and you need to have a gym for CrossFit. Like they can't blend because these people are going to want to do that. So it was almost like it wasn't allowed.
Yeah,
Is the way they kind
yeah.
of pushed it.
Yeah. And we've talked about like OPEX's and specifically like James's view on like exercise before, and how James thinks that, everything needs to be, eloquently designed, and that stimulus needs to be 100% accurate for every athlete. It needs to be individualized for every athlete. But I think that does a lot of discredit for what CrossFit's done and who CrossFit's gotten into fitness, otherwise wouldn't be in fitness.
Yeah.
Like I probably wouldn't be a fitness professional if CrossFit wasn't exactly how it was in 2011.
sure.
Like if it was just fitness, it would have been just fucking fitness.
Yeah.
And if we were just coming in and doing like ID, which is just personal training without without a trainer, right?
boring.
Like,
Yeah.
like CrossFit's gotten people sober. CrossFit's
Yeah.
saved people. Like CrossFit's done that
For sure.
Not necessarily just exercise,
Yeah.
because exercise has been around for eternities.
Literally
and
eternity.
obviously CrossFit is something that's done different.
Yeah, no, totally. And I mean, I wonder if James, like, I know James is like, he doesn't really go back and forth, but he has a different opinion nowadays. But I wonder if it's changed,
Yeah.
if it's shifted at all, because the landscape is different now.
Yeah.
For sure. When he was going on, and he did that until COVID happened. And I think a lot of people, and I think that's why this is coming into more like this new, not new style, but like blending more, because people are like, man, we like people.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that happened with me, and then having my son and doing all that, like wow, I kind of fuck with people.
So do you think, and this is kind of like a weird question, but like, do you think that it was a new realization that people made in coming back around to like group being more of a thing, where it was like they had a new realization, like, you know, COVID happened, they realized they like people? Or do you think this is just an example of things coming full circle, where like it starts with group and then it gets super, super individualized, and just because everything in life and thought and mind is cyclical, now we're making our way back around? Or is this not us making our way back around yet? Is this still another step that we just found?
Is it that widespread? Is what we have at Black Sheep available elsewhere?
So here's what I think, and you know, I can't say for sure, but like obviously Training Think Tank is like a pretty forward thinking organization, and when they came out with their blog, it was like, whoa, I thought you guys do individual coaching.
Yeah.
So I think that Training Think Tank coming out with their blog, and I think if my memory serves me correctly, I think they did that in 2019, just after regionals was killed. Because I think, and you know, maybe I'm wrong, but my read of the situation was that not as many people, now that regionals wasn't a thing, not as many people were down to pay $350 a month for coaching. Because I canceled mine, right? I stopped getting coached for a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm just going to have fun and follow a blog or do group stuff. And then TTT kind of came out with like, hey, never mind, for $49.99, we'll do what people were doing 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And we'll bring the blog back. So for that reason, it makes me feel like we're not the only ones that are doing it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I would imagine there's some more, like maybe in like their own way, right?
Yeah.
Like we're doing it our way. Everyone has their little way, but
Nuances.
there's definitely some places doing it. And again, like Invictus has been doing that for ages.
So Invictus, throughout all their games
Yeah.
teams, it's been individualized, plus we get together and we throw down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think even CompTrain to an extent too, what I've heard from that. But again, like those are, like they started CrossFit, and like that's how CrossFit, like if you are like OG like that, a lot of those have started like that.
Yeah.
Except for like OPEX, which is.
But
its own
OPEX
thing.
started like that. It was the Big Dog blog, right? And then
Yeah.
they canceled
No,
it. to
yeah.
start-
Kinda.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to go back, even though James like is kind of like outside of that, OPEX HQ or remote coaching, whatever it's called now, they
It'll
are
change
doing
next month,
yeah,
so.
like whatever it is, everyone that comes there does things together.
They
too.
do.
Yeah, but they also have a blog now.
Yeah.
Back to it. So
They do have a blog.
yeah, and they came out. Everyone has a blog now. So it's like when it comes away, it comes back. They keep coming.
So do you
full
think
circle.
that
I
that's
think
us coming
you're-
full circle,
yeah,
or
I
do you think that's
so.
us coming to a new realization?
I think.
Like, do you think this is another step in the journey of like figuring out how to coach as well as possible? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think we realize that we don't. No, I don't know. I don't know.
I think
That's
it's the next step.
You think it's the next
I
step?
think it might
Because
be.
I don't think that this has been a thing. Like, I don't think we realize the importance of individual as well as the importance of the group. So I think we probably did have to go through the everyone go crazy and I need my individual programming because I can't do anything that they're doing because we're different and I need my own perfect individual thing. And then realizing that I actually need to work out with you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to push as hard.
There needs to be a blend.
Because how many times did you try to like lure people in to do your workout with you?
Yeah. Oh
Sure.
no,
Yeah,
for sure.
all the time. I craved it.
Oh, yeah.
But like
yeah.
I was just thinking about today. I'm like, I had a blast today. I got killed by everybody today. I had a blast. The last time I had fun, I had someone do my stuff with me, and I was
Yeah.
like, and you know when that was?
Yeah.
Ages ago.
Yeah.
Like that was in 2015. 15, 16.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And like I don't remember a lot of stuff. Like, and I remember that. Like that one day of training, 5 of us did it together. I'm like, that was cool. So I think you're right. I think it's like a little step further than that. Or I don't know if it'd be a step further or like a step behind it. Like coming full circle. I don't know.
So obviously this is a weird question, but like, let's talk theoretics. Like, what's the next step? Or do you think we're here? Do you think that this is the pinnacle? And obviously this is because if we can figure it out, we can probably all make a lot of money.
I wonder if the
Let's figure it out right now, and then we will not post this podcast until after.
I wonder if the people who win the games, because look at that, right? Like and just look at the males, just because it's just look at the males because it's a little easier to talk about this, but. If let's say Justin doesn't win this year and someone from a camp changes, that is going to change. I think that's going to change a lot of things.
Do you think it should?
No.
Yeah,
it shouldn't matter. But I don't think a lot of stuff should
happen.
I mean,
but that's just the general
culture,
population. Yeah.
But I think that even though Rich did his own stuff, it was like, well, I got to kind of figure out my own. How can I be my own person? So I'll have a coach help me with this or whatever. However that came about, and then Frazier, same thing as Rich, and now just everything happening. Then Justin, he's by himself basically, not doing individual stuff, but his class and whatever he does. But if someone like I don't know, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but someone that has working for a training tank or someone that trains with them, if they won this year, if Noah won this year, he would that would be...
The model's going to be after him.
Yeah. I have a feeling it would, but maybe not.
Yeah.
I think that's how everything works. So you always follow.
For sure.
But that's probably not. That's not how everyone would get to their best. It's just, he won, so obviously what he's doing, I need to copy that. Yeah.
Do you think there's a more fun? So let's talk about having fun for a second, because that's like almost as important, because like we're all in our 30s now. We wouldn't still be doing this if this wasn't fun.
For sure.
Like talking about like the life cycle. We talked about the life cycle from like a performance perspective, right? We were doing group, and then we were doing this. We had a coach, and it was super effective. Now let's talk from just like a fun and like an adherence perspective. Do you think there's a blend that we could be doing different than what we're doing right now that would be more fun?
Not really.
No, it's like we're doing exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Like I don't think so. No. And like, just to kind of talk about what we did and then talk about that too. Like I heard Froning say something one time on one of his 10,000 videos, and he's just like, "What's more fun than just like throwing down with the boys?" Like he's like, "That's why I love CrossFit." And I think also leading up to this point, I kind of like started to be like, I don't know if I'd like love CrossFit. Like it's too much, and I think I was doing that for like putting guards up for it. And now that I'm here, I'm like, damn, I actually I love CrossFit. I love that. And then like throwing down with the boys, with the crew, with whatever it is, it just makes it like that blend. I think is the perfect blend.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next piece would be genetic potential.
Yeah.
You know, like I just like there's no like it wouldn't make any other sense besides that.
Yeah.
Like you just have to have more than this guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. What do you think?
What was the question again?
The balance that we've struck. We talked about like group and not group
fun,
and
like just
ID.
fun?
Yeah, like.
I mean, the only thing that would be more fun would be...
Like, if the goal was to make fitness as fun as possible.
Then I would say no ID, and you just go and you fuck around. And, and sometimes we'll play spike ball, or... I haven't played spike ball in a long time. Just play games.
Well, and we talked about the other day, where, like, sometimes the best workouts that you have is, like, you come down and you're like, all right, I have 2 kids with me. Here's what's hurting right now. Or maybe we talked about it. Maybe we talked about it. And we, like... I wrote these things down, and then I started.
Yeah. We talked about
that's
this
like
too.
That's kind of
for
what it is
it's
sometimes.
so stress-free.
Yeah,
I come
really
in,
is.
This doesn't hurt. These pieces of equipment aren't being used in the gym. I have this much time. I'm going to use a wall ball, a rope, and a barbell, and then boom, and I'm done.
And time is insignificant in the factor of like, running it. Just you have a set time.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't for time doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're just there.
I don't even time my
free will
workouts
and just
anymore.
going. Yeah.
Unless I'm doing a class or something.
Yeah.
Like, if
Or
I'm just
like you
messing
literally
around.
have 31 minutes to be exact.
Yeah,
You do
yeah,
28
yeah.
minutes, you move on.
Yeah. We've talked, just to like switch topics for real quick, but we've talked about this before, and we'll talk like some more like stuff in the past. Like we talked about like camps and programs and coaches, like call it whatever you want, but like things to follow. Who do you think if we could emulate or imitate as closely as possible would lead to, like, who do you think is the most like us? You know, if we're talking about Invictus or CompTrain or OPEX or, you know, all of the things that have been.
It's definitely not OPEX.
Yeah.
No.
Probably not Training Think Tank.
It's,
Yeah.
If Mayhem, like I would think that'd be the closest
yeah.
thing. Like we just need a barn.
That would be sick.
Which
Can we do
next
that?
list.
I don't know if we can do that in Palm Beach County.
We could do a
We could-
building.
We're gonna blame it. We're gonna blame it on our county restrictions.
Well, maybe we'll do
If
something
Palm Beach
else.
County wasn't so restricting,
Yeah.
we would basically be Mayhem.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. I definitely think that would be.
So is that the reason we
but
didn't win the games?
That's
That's
it.
it.
It's
Palm
the
Beach
county
County.
we live
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
I would say also, but no one knows this except for you and a handful of like Outlaw.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. I knew,
Yeah.
that's why I said it because I knew you would.
Yeah.
And so I would say like, but Mayhem for sure from like that person to person like adherence with each other.
Yeah. Sorry,
Oh,
we
just in
all
case-
just got super distracted.
In case you guys were wondering, this podcast is sponsored by Liquid Death. If you want to murder your thirst,
But we do not get any money for this because we're not sponsored.
they're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
buy us a barn.
It would be sick, like you know, whatever this would look like if there was like and again we've talked about this in the past, if there was some type of way to blend OPEX and Outlaw.
Yeah.
And have like just the best of both worlds. And
I think you're on the right track.
I do.
though.
I think
mean,
this is
we're
it.
trying
Like, it's
to.
moving this
yeah,
way,
we're
for
trying
sure.
to.
And I think doing it organically like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And not that it is organic, but it is kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, you
That's
got to
the-
kind of just do you. Like, it
Yeah.
can't be something that's labored. It can't
Yeah.
be something that's in. Yeah, I agree.
I think that is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that one day, like, we'll be able to find that lane, hard lane, and we'll be like where we want to be.
Yeah, you just gotta like experience.
Yeah.
You figure out what works,
Yeah.
what doesn't.
Yeah.
Then you had like get the methodology, the program,
Maybe go through another couple cycles of life and
individual
changes, individual design
Yeah.
7 more times,
Yeah.
and we'll be back to this again.
Yeah. So I guess last thing we could finish up with, kind of, even though it'll take a couple minutes, obviously, because conversation happens, is like somebody like a 22-year-old that is like coming out of sport or younger, whatever, you know what I mean? Coming out of sport, coming out of, you know, let's assume that the genetics are there. Let's assume that the drive is there.
Does this person have a goatee and long hair?
This person is like, it's an avatar.
They're from like North Carolina.
It's an
maybe?
avatar because he's,
North
Virginia.
it's an avatar. You know, what do you think, based on the knowledge that we have now, is the approach for somebody like that to get as good as possible in the sport? Because, you know, and something that's worth keeping in mind, and maybe this holds true, maybe it doesn't, is like sometimes you got to make your own mistakes.
Yeah.
And you know, we had the grace, I suppose, to make so many mistakes because there was no coaching going on and there were no great minds involved, and like early on it was just nothing but mistakes. So we were really good at making mistakes, and I almost think that we're at a place now where like we're not letting athletes make mistakes.
Man.
And I think that, you know, if because, you know, I think our typical response to, hey, here's this 18-year-old that comes in and is like ready to like potentially go to the games in 3 to 4 years, and our first response is like, okay, go get the highest quality coach that you can and get coached at the ultimate level. Is that person missing part of like a John Eldridge experience, missing the cowboy stage? Because we all had that cowboy stage in CrossFit.
Yeah.
And do we as athletes need a cowboy stage, or can we reach our full athletic potential jumping over the cowboy stage and over the vigilante and over the rebel stage?
I think you need. It might get if we're looking for longevity, you might get burnt out.
Yeah.
If you jump right into that and you don't have, because that was fun. It's like fun to fuck up and make
It needs
mistakes.
to change sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're a coach and you're constricting it too much, it's probably gonna backfire, and it's gonna be like the rebellious kid that's gonna bail and go do something else.
Yeah.
Or they're just not gonna listen. Or
We've talked about that quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. When you were starting to ask this question, and it transformed. But when you were starting to ask it, like, what would I say to a 22-year-old, basically? My immediate instinct, because this has been my instinct for 10 years, is go hire a coach.
Yeah.
Immediate.
Yeah.
When I sit here and I was just sitting here thinking about this, I do think, listen, CrossFit brought us all here, right? How, like, my story is a little bit different. Everyone's story is different, but I have come full circle and found this now. And I do actually think doing classes and like getting involved with the classes, you don't have to do anything extra. Doesn't matter. If you want to, this is where you can like figure out that, where you can kind of go off to the races and do your own stuff, or be like, oh, what's Tyler doing? What's down, like whatever. What's
Let me
everyone
jump
doing?
in.
Yeah, let me jump in today. Like some Roberto shit. Like just
Yeah,
get
yeah,
on
yeah.
everyone's stuff.
Yeah.
But like,
Can you put a picture of him up?
but like doing that, and then it's like, wow, I can't walk. Like I screwed up. Like I think those little things are just enough to keep you there.
Yeah.
And then that's where like having a coach, like you're like having you, right? So we'll say Peyton is doing that, and you're like, hey man, maybe don't do Tyler stuff today. I'll give you something extra today to do just to see,
We just had
because
that
you're not there.
conversation.
So it's like I think that is like a proper hand-holding to a fresh person coming off of a college experience with sports, especially someone with sport. If someone's coming off the couch and they're like just do class, man.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
Without
a
question.
yeah.
Even with the genetic potential, like even if they are like maybe they're just a gamer, they've been gaming forever, and then you're like, man, you're kind of an athletic freak.
yeah,
Isn't it like
yeah.
James Hobart.
Something.
He never did. I think he was large. And
Yeah.
then
Crazy.
Yeah, that's
games.
like just like an exposure thing,
Yeah,
right?
so-
like you got to get some exposure.
With that said, but in that regard, exposure also for this person on their own terms, and then when they start experiencing things, you can kind of help hone that. in a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah,
But that would be my advice for that: is just do class.
yeah,
And I would have never said that 5 years ago.
yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. Just
It is
to think
crazy,
about.
yeah. And I agree with that. And I'm gonna like put my foot in my mouth when I say this, but like I'm gonna say what kind of go along with what you said is like hire a coach.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna like off the record say like hire a coach and like sometimes say fuck him.
Yeah.
And like do your own thing and like fuck up.
is that
like
because that's what you're doing right now?
fuck you, dude. but so that's me doing it in the later version of my career. So yes, but like even in the earlier version of the career, like make your own mistakes. Like get rhabdo in your stomach because you too many GHDs.
Yeah.
And it's gonna make you appreciate your coach that much more.
Yeah. Like, well, I'll listen.
Yeah,
Until you don't.
yeah.
So you don't
yeah.
again.
So almost like just do you,
Yeah.
so that you can fuck up, and then you can be like, all right, now I get it now.
Yeah.
I learned for myself. I learned why I need some assistance.
And if you don't, you will.
Yeah,
You will
yeah,
eventually.
yeah.
Like it's like, cause I wouldn't have learned. I would be like, oh man, rhabdo, that sucks. 100 wall balls today?
Yeah.
Like 7 mile sled push.
Yeah,
wall balls,
Sled drag.
front squats, deadlifts, everything.
But you do eventually be like, okay, maybe let's do half of this.
You have to push it far. Like you'll never know how far you can actually push it until you push it a little too far.
Yeah.
And then,
Life.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Do you want to talk about that or?
Mic drop.